Welcome to the Two Guys, One Coup podcast with Dale and Jim, where the truth matters and progressives' feelings don't. We bring you the facts from the perspective of two average, everyday guys who will never apologize for being America first, for adhering to our great Constitution, and for saluting the flag that our brothers and sisters have fought and died for. And now, here's Dale and Jim.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Guys, One Coup, episode 36. Is that right, Jim? 36?
Yes. Wow.
36 episodes in. Again, everybody, welcome. Glad you are joining us. Gained some new people recently that have been listening, which is very nice. So welcome to them if they're just starting to listen to the show. I suggest going back a few shows. Yeah. The last one was, Jim was rude on the last one, I thought.
Yeah, just me. Yep, just me.
Just Jim. And so,
but we should probably tell, especially if new listeners are there, we should probably explain to them that we talk about serious topics, but
we do.
We're jokesters, and we put some levity to it, and we like to laugh.
That's because you have to. That's because you have to.
Because you have to laugh. So.
Because nobody laughs, really.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's nobody laughs. Everybody's offended. Everybody gets their feelings hurt. Everybody's. Jim, I was before we get started, I was fighting on Facebook again.
Always.
Yeah, I have a problem. I need Facebook anonymous.
I get it. I just let it go. Yeah.
I know you're very good about that, and I tend to let it go, but there's just some people that just really get under my skin, and they know how to do it. And so I just want to let you know that I'm going to seek help for that.
Good. I'm glad.
I'm going to seek help for my Facebook fighting addiction. FFA is what I call it. So anyways, again, you know, you'd be shocked, but it was a liberal, and we've been talking a lot about school stuff, right? And things going on in school. And I kind of shared this with you. I shared it with Paige, even what he said to me. I'm not going to read it. Doesn't matter. None of that matters. But he is completely in 100% denial that schools are being indoctrinated with sexual orientation teaching, with drag queen story hours, things you and I have talked about. Completely in denial. Not happening. It's false. I'm doing it for a political agenda. I'm like, what political? I'm not running for office. What political agenda do I? You know, you and I are aligned with a group that's nonpartisan. You know, so it's I don't get it. But literally, so 1 second of a Google search, I threw 4 articles at him. Show what's going on across. I'm like, that was a random search. 1 second. It's happening in every state. I don't know why I wanted to bring this up on the air, but I just felt like telling you that I'm having these issues. Deep-rooted Facebook fighting issues.
Well, we just want to point out, you know, that this is serious. Okay, is it every school system?
No, we're not saying it. Nobody's ever claimed.
They want to put it in every school system, probably.
They do,
but you know, we just want to bring it up and everything else. I mean, you don't think we'd rather not have to talk about this because it's so ridiculous teaching our elementary school kids what a transgender is. I'd rather talk about more positive stuff like the economy that's going on. You know?
Cost of goods and services.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a positive thing. I mean, this president is doing so well.
Jim, now he's doing so well, there's a tampon shortage, which directly affects you, I think. There is a tampon shortage. I mean, I
don't know.
I mean, I don't use them. I don't, you know, but I sure have known folks who have, and I don't understand how that. Was there a recall at the tampon plant? Was there?
Maybe.
Somebody tell me how that works. I don't even know how they're manufactured, Jim. Maybe you know.
I have no idea. I'm sorry. I have no idea.
All right, Jim. You're useless to me again.
As usual. But I'll do research on that. I mean,
Jim, if you could have an update for us by next Tuesday's show, that would be
find
phenomenal.
out why there's short. Just wait till the gas shortage comes out.
Oh, I know.
So,
well, he's, you know, our Joey's over there going to beg Saudi Arabia. Hey,
but he wasn't sure if he was going to go over there or not. You know, did you hear that interview?
Yeah, I heard that interview too.
Well, I haven't decided yet. And then about 5 seconds later, we're going to talk about wait, are you going or are you not going? But
Have you ever seen a more dysfunctional administration?
all around.
Obama was terrible.
Yes,
Okay, as
yes.
far as, but it functioned.
Mhm.
I mean, there was a message, and he stayed with the message. I didn't like the message,
Mhm.
but he stayed with it.
Yep.
And it was consistent, for his base. These flip floppers and wishy washers are I can't figure it out what's going on. And then the new press secretary, she's a super genius, isn't she?
Oh my
I mean,
God.
she is. I didn't think they could get worse than Peppermint Patty, and they did.
I mean,
they
God,
did.
that is probably the hardest position in it.
I'd
in an
say it's not
administration.
easy. I'd say
Press
it's not.
secretary, because you got to try to defend it's the indefensible sometimes.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
I
just really
Yeah.
hard to do it. And there have been some great ones though. But they don't last long in these jobs. It's just the stress.
No,
and,
they don't. They often change during
I have a
administration.
feeling Jean-Pierre
Jean-
is not going
What's
to
her
last
name?
long.
I don't know her name. What's her name? Karine Jean-Pierre Francois
Jean-Pierre.
Dubois.
Didn't I say Jean-Pierre?
Is that the last name? Has she got a first name?
Jean-Pierre's last name.
Oh, okay. All right.
Karine, I think.
Karine Jean-Pierre.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm
I'm not going to say she's not a nice person or anything like that. I mean, she's
no idea who she is.
She's completely loony left, but I'm saying that, to not be prepared with questions like about the baby formula shortage, to filter through a notebook looking for the answer for 20 seconds, dead silent, and then come back and say, I have no further information on that. I mean, how could you not be prepared for that question during these times? Jim, I don't understand why people just don't hire us for these kind of jobs.
I'm ready.
We're so perfect.
How would you like us to run a press secretary? That'd be kind of
that
well,
would
what
be
do you
great.
think? Because especially if we were his press secretary. Well, he's an idiot. He has no idea what he's doing.
Well, he's an
Next
idiot.
question.
Next question. 81 million people voted for him. Next question.
But the media's starting to turn.
The media's turning. And speaking of that, I believe, Jim, if I'm not mistaken, and the math is correct, this episode will be available on YouTube.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're going to try it again, folks. Like I said, I'm going to post the ones that we hadn't the last couple of weeks because of our ban from YouTube. I am going to post those on there, but I think this one will be on YouTube, and of course, everybody's jumping on Rumble, which is great. And all
because we want to talk about how the election was stolen from Hillary Clinton in 2016. Guaranteed we won't get.
This episode's guaranteed it's up there forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can't report that.
Nope.
Jim, we again have many stories and many things to discuss today. So why don't we get started?
Let's do it. We have a couple school stories that I want to talk. School stories. And the last I'm going to end with something very disturbing. From a Heritage Foundation study that people need to pay attention to. First of all, I want to talk about how an Arizona school club on leadership and diversity asked students if their heterosexuality was a phase they would grow out of.
Jim.
I can't make this up. It's right there.
I don't. You can't. This is a heritage. This is a study in an Arizona. I'm sorry.
Arizona school club on leadership and diversity.
If their heterosexuality was a phase.
Yeah.
Do you remember back in the day when, it was like, we're going to send you to a psychiatrist because your homosexuality is just a phase? Yeah. How crazy was that back then to think that?
Well, I get tired of these.
But now they're doing this. They're reversing the roles.
How many times do we have to say, I am tired of the heterophobia that is out there? I'm tired of it. I've had enough.
Here's proof.
Had enough. Okay.
Jim, is yours before we go on, is yours a phase or
no
hetero?
No, I'm pretty solid. I'm pretty solid in there. During a student leadership and diversity club gathering, a Phoenix area, surprise, school district asked students questions about their sexuality, including how they knew they were straight. So, according to emails released by the Arizona Daily Independent, the questions were part of a program used by the Unitown Club in the Scottsdale Unified School District to discuss sexual orientation with students. The worksheet asked kids to question their heterosexuality by suggesting the following questions. See, I got questions.
Oh,
the following questions should be posed to minors by adults who are not their parents. Again, let's take the parents away.
It clearly says that the question should be
posed to minors
by adults who are not their parents. Yep. That makes sense. That makes total sense, doesn't it?
First question, Dale. Here you go. I'm asking you.
Okay.
Ready?
I'm ready to answer, Jim.
What do you think caused your heterosexuality?
Tits.
Good answer. Because I honestly think, in all honesty, that's what all of us did, right? If you never slept with a person of the same sex, is it possible that all you need is a good gay lesbian lover?
There is no way that's a question.
Yes.
Are you?
If you've never slept with a person of the same sex, is it possible that all you need is a good gay / lesbian lover?
Now, are you kidding me?
I wanna just do. Okay, I'm gonna ask you a question. You're 5.
So my answer to that one is no.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. But you're in 5th grade.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's use 5th as a. Okay. So
even 7th.
You have this question.
Mm-hmm.
You have these two boys sitting right side by side.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen when they go to the bathroom next time? Honestly,
laugh.
No.
Or
what if they try it?
Do you think?
Why would you ask this question?
That's my point.
That's
my point. I don't even think in 5th grade I'd been like, let's go try it. I think I knew then.
I just think it's
was
bad. I think this is heading down a really dangerous path. I really do.
This is ridiculous.
You got kids that are just developing, just thinking, saying, well, maybe this is what we should try. And then you're going to start having kids do this.
You're not wrong, Jim. You're not wrong.
And let's go one case worse on this, on what happens if tricks and jokes are played on kids.
Yeah, I know.
Now we start having kids attacked. But anyway.
Attacked, bullied, and all that.
So
this should not be anywhere near children, these questions.
So the number 3 question.
This is ridiculous. Oh, boy.
Is it possible that your heterosexuality stems from a neurotic fear of others of the same sex?
Yeah, well, now I know. Now I know why I'm hetero. I'm afraid of other men.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? I mean, that's basically what it's saying. And if you're a woman, you're afraid of all women. That's why you are.
No.
Come on.
Here we go.
This was allowed? Jim.
To whom have you disclosed your heterosexual tendencies?
To girls. To everybody.
That's the appropriate answer.
When you're in school, I mean, you're like, holy crap. You're going to parties, you're going to dance. You asked little Susie over to the prom. I guess they know. Holy
Question
shit.
number 5.
What kind of list? So sorry about that, Jim. I know we're going to run late because I've got questions myself.
Yeah, fine.
When you ask that question, to whom you have stated your heterosexuality to, I mean, my God, Jim, the list is endless. Like, to everybody who knows me. Like, you want me to write their names? I mean, what kind of kids
when we were in high school,
are they trying to find out if they talk to their parents about this? Is that what they're trying to find out?
When you were in high school, you're sitting around with your buds, right? You're, like we all did in high school, Bibles. We all were in a Bible group, sitting around reading the Bible and doing all these things with little bottles of Gatorade as we were drinking.
Sure.
Remember those days?
Yeah. Picnics in the park. Yeah. I remember.
What would you have done if one of your friends in this group looked at and said, I'm heterosexual? Why did you have to tell us that?
Why?
He's probably going to get the shit kicked out of him, right? I mean, that's what guys do. We beat each other up and then we move on. That's what
I'm like, I'm heterosexual. Why are you telling me this story? Like, why?
Dale, I'm going to go on record right now saying I'm heterosexual and I have heterosexual tendencies.
Jim,
there you go.
Jim, I agree. I'm with you on that, and I appreciate the fact that you are.
Yeah, okay.
But it wouldn't matter if you weren't. Well, that's my other point.
See, both of us have had gay friends and have gay friends, right?
It doesn't matter to me.
And,
I don't care.
So the question that earlier about how do you know if you haven't?
Sorry.
That would be a question that I could feel that person could ask us as an adult.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. But I don't have to. I can guarantee you that doesn't appeal to me. But if it appeals to somebody else, go for it. All the power to you. It
has nothing to do with
children.
Adults. It's children. Yeah.
Now the last question is, why do you insist on flaunting your heterosexuality? Because we have heterosexual pride. That's why.
In August, by the way. The flaunting. I mean, folks. You've seen the gay parades, right? With the swinging dildos, and I'm not trying to be cruel about it.
That's just some of the least offensive things they do. Yeah,
that's not flaunting. But go ahead.
No, because our heterosexual parade, we don't have time for it because we work. But the other thing, I know. Oops, I'm sorry. That's wrong.
Jim,
I'm insinuating.
Wait a second.
It's a joke.
You're saying the gay community doesn't work, Jim.
Liberals.
That was a
liberal. But anyway, that was a joke, guys. That's a joke. Email Dale.
Not me at this time. I have offended nobody.
But anyway, our heterosexual parade is just going to be people walking down the street. Hi, how you doing? Holding hands, maybe with your spouse, maybe giving a smooch. But I'm not swinging a dildo around or Lori. I
got to be honest with you.
Beads.
I got to be honest with you. The gay parade sounds more fun.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe they're more proud than we are. I don't know.
Maybe.
But anyway, the questions appear to represent a bias, you think, towards expressing a negative nature of any heterosexual relationship, even implying with words like phase that it is not a normal sexual orientation.
Yeah, that's exactly what it states.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like to me.
The exercise also asks students, considering the menace of overpopulation, how could the human race survive if everyone were heterosexual?
That's how it survives. Do people not understand procreation?
But remember, we're overpopulated. It says overpopulation. So they're telling kids now that you need to be gay so you can't have babies so we can stem the population.
Oh, I get that. Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, that makes total sense to me.
It does?
Do they understand?
I've been reading this. I've been reading this for 24 hours.
None of it does. Jim, do they not understand that heterosexuals have saved human extinction for 200 million years now? Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I don't get it. And the funny thing about it is they sit there and they talk about how we're homophobic and transphobic, and that's not what it is. Our biggest argument with any of this isn't their rights. Yeah. They still have rights. They all have rights to do whatever they want to. We're talking about children. Like that's all we're talking about.
Jim, where did you get this story from?
I actually got it from.
I feel you had to dig deep a little
bit. The Gateway Pundit. I got it from the Gateway.
You did?
Pundit.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Now I know people out there are going to say, "Oh, that's false." Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guarantee it's more accurate than CNN. But anyway.
Yep. It's not.
The curriculum also notes that gender expression and gender identity are individual choices. A gender orientation is an individual's internal sense of their gender. That may not align with the person's birth-assigned sex. It tells students that their gender is a social construct and is not directly tied to their external genitalia.
Okay. Well, thanks for the explanation.
All right. This is a school, guys. This is a school and children. Now, the thing is, it did not say ages. Okay.
No. I mean, it could be 17.
Still. Don't want my 17-year-old.
Those kind of questions don't need to be asked anywhere.
Questioning their heterosexual. I don't question anyone's homosexuality. Especially from
who's asking the question? A teacher?
Well, but what I do ask.
Who's asking?
What I do ask is there is no way in God's green earth somebody the age of 7 8 years old is going to
Mhm.
know they're gay. There's
No.
no way. Now, if they
There's no
become
way.
gay, fine.
Yeah.
That's their choice later in life.
Yeah.
Just don't confuse these kids any more than they have to.
Not yet.
Now,
You
with
know?
everything
God.
that we have been talking about with stuff in schools, I'm going to try to make this pretty quick.
Okay.
We've talked about all this, but parents trying to need to get in there and watch what the school's doing.
Mhm.
Transgender, especially with the transgender kids that are being put through. Okay,
Mhm.
so a new Heritage Foundation study: youth suicide rates are significantly higher in states where puberty blockers, trans drugs are easily accessible for children.
Wow.
A new study by the Heritage Foundation
What?
has revealed staggering evidence showing that access to puberty blockers and other trans affirming drugs cause a higher likelihood of youth suicide. Now, before I go any further, if you guys remember a couple episodes ago when we were talking about how this the person who went through a transgender surgery way back when it wasn't as prevalent as what it
Yeah.
is now.
Or
And
trendy,
he and
if
the
you ask me.
doctor that helped him on it had said, no way should children go through
Mhm.
puberty blockers and these drugs
Correct.
until after the age of 18 at minimum.
They're not
Their
mentally, their
body's not
brains aren't
ready. And
mentally
the
and brain.
doctor, the doctor went so far and said, no way should you have a child go through this without having an orgasm. Because that will hurt
I
them
didn't know
and
that.
they won't be able to get one later in life, is what they're
That's true.
saying.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
now the study, which was conducted by Dr. Jay Green, comes in response to a growing number of state and legislators who are pushing these damaging drugs, which have been traditionally used to chemically castrate sex offenders
Mhm.
and pedophiles.
Wow.
These are the drugs
Wow.
that when you get, if
Yeah.
you are a serious sex offender, you get these things that you just don't have it.
Chemically castrated.
Chemically
Correct.
castrated. As a solution to the skyrocketing suicide rate in the U.S. that's being driven by the left's insane gender ideology. But in general, the cure has done nothing but exasperate the problem. And Green proves it by breaking down state by state. Here we go. Green found that in states that allow minors to receive drugs like puberty blockers for gender affirmation, the rate of suicide among young adults aged 12 to 23 is substantially higher, 1.6 additional suicides per 100,000, than in states which do not allow easy access to these transgender drugs. Additionally, when accounting for only states that allow minors access to gender reassignment procedures without parental consent, the suicide rates get even worse, ballooning to 3.5 additional suicides per 100,000. A massive increase when the baseline rate for youth suicide is 11.1 per 100,000.
Wow.
So, as we've been talking about and other people have been talking about before, these kids are not ready for something like
They're
this.
not ready.
If a child doesn't feel like they belong, if a child doesn't feel themselves, it doesn't mean they need to transition. That's not what it means. But now the one thing that really bugs me is this whole thing about without parent consent.
Yeah, correct.
Under the age of 18, no freaking way should this be
Yep.
allowed. Green's data shows that the problem has exploded over the last decade, plus as gender reassignment drugs became more widely available and easily accessible. In fact, there wasn't even a extinguishable difference in suicide rates between states that had allowed access or not as recently as 2010. But by 2015 is when the massive gap formed, and by 2020, the problem is becoming a clear as day. These drugs and destructive policies are most likely causing more youth suicides. So, for all you people out there that want to call Dale and I and other people like us transphobic or homophobic or whatever the hell you want to label us, fine, whatever. But understand, these things right here is why we're talking about stay away from the children.
Yep.
Because they're not ready. They are not emotionally ready to handle it.
Correct.
And not to mention the fact that, sometimes you need your parents to know what's going on so they can help you through it.
Yep.
The right way. School counselors, I'm sorry, you're not trained to help a child progress or transition to the opposite sex.
Jim,
You are not.
let me ask you these quick questions.
Yep.
That's some disturbing studies there, and proves the point. I mean, proves the point. Indisputable, sad facts right there. But Jim, what is a 7-year-old allowed to legally do? A 7-year-old
Don't know.
smoke cigarettes,
No.
drive a car,
Mm-mm.
vote,
Mm-mm.
own a firearm,
Nope.
change their gender.
Yep.
I mean, does any of that make sense to you? Does any of that make sense to you? It's sick.
But see, this is another thing. This is what bothers me too, because these proponents that support this crap that's going on, they're not paying attention to these statistics. They're going to sit there. I guarantee you, they're going to sit there and say, "Oh, that is not the case."
That's
committing,
not why it's
they're
happening.
committing suicide because they're not being accepted. They're bullies and everything else. And it's like,
Mhm.
no, because I think today in today's society, these actions are more okay with people than anything else. You and I have been talking about transgenders for a long time. And
Yeah.
our main focus has been two things, right, Dale? No
First one.
children,
Mhm.
and you
Second
can't
one.
compete with women.
That's
it.
That's
If you want to do it at the age of 18 and think you can and think you go for it.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, go for it. But all we're saying is, my pronoun is if you are a Michael and become an Aaliyah, okay, I'll call you Leah, but I'm not going to call you her. I'm just not. And so, but that's my choice. It's not transphobic. It's not homophobic. It's not insensitive. That's my decision because I'm sorry, you still have a thing hanging from your legs, or in between your legs. It'd be kind of weird from a leg, but in between your legs that you're not a woman. I don't give a shit what these people tell you. So, but this is the problem, and this is serious. But no, we're more concerned about we got to keep guns out of kids' hands. We got to keep guns out of people's hands, and
out of everybody's hands,
guys. We really need to start looking at the effects of what we're pushing our children to, and that's what Moms for Liberty, and that's what we are doing in terms of leave the children alone, let them be kids.
That's it.
Okay, let them be kids. Teach them about the things they need to learn. Okay. This stuff, their parents will take control of it. Okay. I mean, yes, there are times when parents, unfortunately, when children go to their parents, say I'm gay.
Yeah, there's parents that are going to be.
They disown them. Okay, or
it's very true.
They treat them differently, or they don't see them as often, and that's horrible.
It's very true.
Because I would like to think that if any of my children came up to me and said that they were gay, I would like to think that I would accept them.
Yeah.
Would I totally like it initially? No, probably not.
It's not the dream that you hope for. Right. It's not what you have the outlook in your life for people, and especially your children. But I would never ever disown them for anything.
No, and you shouldn't. They're your children. Whether they decide to do a different thing than you did is beside the point.
Correct.
Changing gender, some of those parents might be even worse at dealing with that. But you got to be there for support. And as a parent, if your child comes to you and says, I just think I'm not comfortable being a man.
Listen and talk to them.
And take them to counseling.
And don't rely on the school counselor and the teacher to tell them, well, that's because you aren't a boy, Johnny. You have to transition. I mean, that is exactly what's going on.
Because this is serious. So
serious.
Okay. So Jim, that's it.
That's crazy. All right, Jim, let's move on. Jim, sticking with some of the kind of the interesting school stuff, and I know we've been doing this a lot, folks, and if it's too much, we're sorry, but it's just very, very important.
People need to know
at this point. People need to know. It's kind of something Jim and I have jumped on, and we just need to. We feel it's important to let people know, because obviously, as based on prior to our first segment, me talking about denial, people are in a denial that like the things you just talked about, the things we were talking about on schools are going on. They're just in denial about it. It's not happening. They don't see it in their school, so it's not happening. But this isn't obviously as serious as that, Jim, but it is interesting that now it looks like 25 states have left the National School Board Association, Nebraska being the 25th one. The Nebraska Association of School Boards left the National School Board Association, making it the 25th state to exit. The decision on Saturday adds to what has been just a mass exodus of states that are leaving this board. President Brad, what? Go on.
Real quick.
Yeah.
That's half.
Yeah, well, for those in San Francisco.
That's half.
Or unless you're the mayor of D.C. who put the 51st star on the flag during Flag Day. Yeah. Jumping ship, but yeah, so it's not quite half if you're her.
That's true.
The stuff we could talk about on a daily basis, Jim, on this show. President Brad Wilkins confirmed that they will not pay dues to the National School Board Association this year. Dues would be due June 30th. In addition to Nebraska, 24 other states have left, including, and I'll read them off because I think this is interesting. I know this might take a minute to read them off, but I think it's interesting the combination of the states that are, some might surprise you. Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Illinois, Kentucky, Louisiana, Minnesota, Missouri, Mississippi, Montana, New Hampshire, North Carolina, Ohio, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, Virginia, West Virginia, and Wisconsin. Those are your 25 states. What I find very interesting
that left.
You
named some very liberal states.
Very liberal states. So what does that tell you? Well, that tells me that Los Angeles is liberal, that San Francisco's liberal, but not the state.
In Chicago.
And you can see that in the when they break down the counties won by candidates and all. It's all
red.
Yeah, it's all red. A couple little blue spots, right? Coastal generally in that area. So the National School Board Association board sent a letter in September asking federal law enforcement to investigate threats against school officials as domestic terrorism. And our good Attorney General, Merrick Garland, jumped on board and didn't deny that fact, as you had heard from Paige Miller and have called that group Moms for Liberty domestic terrorists. Well, that's what's leading to most of this. They haven't taken that back. Merrick Garland hasn't taken it back. The President of the United States, whoever he is, has not taken that back. So in a Texas independent investigation prior to its departure from the school board in May, it was found that the National School Board Association had previously apologized for that letter. However, according to a Fox News report, interim CEO and executive director Chip Slavin was behind the letter both in origin and substance, and prematurely had exchanges with a senior educator advisor at the White House on the letter's release. So that's really the big thing. Remember, it was all like the White House knew nothing about it. Merrick Garland knew nothing about that letter. The Texas Association of School Boards determined that the apology was insufficient to change its decision to leave the National Association and move, repeated by a growing number of states, which we've discussed. Daily Wire reported that Senate Republicans had called for Attorney General Merrick Garland to return to Capitol Hill to face additional questions about the Justice Department's role in addressing tensions between parents and school boards in November. Well, that didn't happen, Jim, and Merrick Garland has since stayed, true to his word on it by simply just ignoring it. By it's not happening. So on to something else. Are you familiar with Randi Weingarten?
No.
Okay. Well, she's a weirdo. Randi Weingarten is president of the American Federation of the Teachers Union. Weingartner spoke, so you heard that, American Federation of the Teachers Union.
Right.
Weingartner spoke at an event organized by a group of survivors of the 2008 mass shootings at Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, where she took the opportunity to push back against parents and lawmakers who want to participate in decisions about what is being taught to children in their public schools. She took that event to push back. So in quote, this is from Randi Weingarten. The same folks the same folks who say we should carry a gun in the classroom, they are the ones who are saying that don't trust us to pick out the appropriate books and curriculum for our nation's kids. She also added, so I asked these politicians this: if we have the judgment to shoot a bad guy, why don't we have the judgment to plan our lessons? I don't think anybody's ever said that, Miss Weingarten. Does that make sense to you at all?
I mean, there's some people that say that teachers, if they want to carry, if they want to have a gun, and they should be allowed to. But
Yes.
that's it. That's the extent of it. We're not asking them to do it to shoot people.
So the governor of Ohio, DeWine, I think is who I clearly was against during COVID because I think he outreached a lot.
Well,
for their
a lot
state.
of them didn't know. I mean, honestly, there were a lot of them were just they didn't know. So
I guess then Como didn't know that.
Well, Como's an idiot.
But there's so is DeWine a lot of time. But now they've passed a law where teachers will have the ability to carry in the classrooms in the state of Ohio. So I think soon a lot of states will follow that lead. Like other speakers, while denouncing violence, she called for people to fight like hell, this Weingartner did, to get the federal government to enact laws to limit Americans' Second Amendment rights during this speech. Now, she's a teacher union, left wing. Weingartner quoted Mary Harris, Mother Jones. I don't know if you've heard of them. It's an activist and organizer for like mine workers back in the 20th century. It's old, but she quoted saying, "We pray for the dead and we fight like hell for the living." That's how she ended her speech. Well, she doesn't seem to care about what's taught to the children and some of the issues going on with the kids there. But the Biden administration sure does now, Jim. So based on all that, you've got parents and teachers and parents and concerned parents and some teachers being listed as domestic terrorists. You've got the left-leaning school board president stating that, we're just ignorant because we can't let them plan their lessons. But the Biden education department now, just yesterday, launches Parents Council to strengthen relationships between schools and families. Well, what timing is this, right? Let's see what they're doing. The U.S. Department of Education on Tuesday launched the National Parents and Families Engagement Council in a move to ensure parents can, end quote, constructively participate in their children's education, end quote, and to facilitate, end quote, strong and effective relationships between schools and families. Wow. What do you think happened here, Jim? Do you think the writing's on the wall? Do you think that they see a large ass base of voters that are abandoning ship, which is the moms of this world who are fighting for their children's education and parental rights and transparency in the schools? So they launched this board. Let me read something. The Department of Education said the council will be a channel for parents and families to constructively participate in their children's education by helping them understand the rights they have, as well as create a feedback loop with schools to discuss how COVID-19 relief and American Rescue Plan funds are deployed to meet students' needs to identify summer learning and enrichment opportunities for children in their communities. Jim, I know this story isn't super exciting, but let me read this final thing on this. The department and the council will hold local listening sessions with parents, families, principals, educators, and school community members to better understand the needs of the students as they start the school year. not the needs of the parents, but the needs of the students. I think, Jim, that this story is smoke and mirrors. I think this council is not going to do what it intended to do. And I'm sorry if I'm a little skeptical about Joe Biden and the the administration and what he puts in place. I think they saw the writing on the wall. I think they're very, very scared that they've lost that voting base. They've seen what can happen in Virginia when that happens.
I was just going to bring up Virginia.
They saw what happened in that election, and it's happening across the country in primaries and everything else. So, Jim, what say you about that?
Well, it's just what we've been talking about on some of the other shows that we've done. Everybody's concentrating on the black vote, Hispanic vote, white vote,
which is failing on every level.
But the one thing that they never seem to really pay attention to is the mama bear vote. And
parents in general.
These, I go back to Youngkin when he won in Virginia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I remember the interview, and I wish I could remember her name. I can't.
Me too. Me too.
When she was interviewed, she said that she is a liberal woman. She's now all those groups.
She was of Arab American descent.
Yep. And she was for Now movement. She was, but when it comes to schools, she just wants her children taught.
Yeah.
So when you see Moms for Liberty, you see them, they are bipartisan. They do not take a side. There are
matter of fact,
liberals
because of their nonprofit, they're not allowed to endorse candidates.
Yeah, they're one of the few.
Well, they're doing it right, but
but
legally,
this group is not terrorists. We talk about it all the time. They're just moms, ex-teachers.
Well, it's not even that.
Grandparents.
And so there's other groups too out there like that.
Well, yeah,
and there's
other.
We
just talk about.
But what I'm saying, of course we do, and I'm not dismissing that. I'm just saying that it wasn't just them. It's parents and it's anybody who was at a school board meeting who was concerned about critical race theory, about sexual indoctrination studies, about any of that, were labeled as domestic terrorists. And the Attorney General of the United States confirmed that by not denying it. Yeah. You got to be kidding me, right? You just got to be kidding me. And so when I now see, as of yesterday, that the Biden administration we've got a council now to help parent. We already had that in place. It's called it's school board meetings. Right. It's called city officials allowing parents in to speak. It's calling schools, like still what's happening up in Michigan at the I think Round Elementary School in why can't I, damn it, Brooke Chapel. I talked about her before. They're still not allowed in. Still today, not allowed in. It's the one where the guy was a surgeon and he was coming in to do ultrasounds. Turns out, by the way, brief update on that, he wasn't a surgeon. He was an emergency room physician, though. And he did not have the approval of anybody to do that. And it was another substitute teacher who came in and stopped it from happening. So that's how that happened. That's, if you guys go back some episodes, you'll hear that story. But I just wanted to briefly tell you, the update on that. But anyways, go on, Jim. I interrupted you.
That's fine. It's just what we talked about before. The voting base right now, I don't see how, unless they. Anyway,
Jim.
The midterms. I just don't understand how. I mean,
we got some stories coming up on that too.
And
we got some stories.
And then
on
in
that.
2024. I mean, now they're even turning against Biden now. I mean, it's
they are. I don't. Do you have a story on that today or no?
No,
but they are turning.
I've got collections going because I want to get more than just some that are coming out. Because now AOC, who seems to be the voice of the Democratic Party now.
Oh God.
That she won't commit. So
she won't commit. And David Axelrod, who was with the Clinton, campaign, stated that he's not endorsing Biden to run again. How could anybody? But Jim, that's all I had on this segment. Why don't we just move on to another one? You ready?
Mm-hmm. I have a few short stories here that I want to go over and kind of catch up on some time here. But just kind of some things in case some people aren't paying attention. Uh, everybody remembers January 21, right? 2021, where Biden sits there and talks about how, and I'm trying to get this right. The stock market is higher than it's ever been under my leadership.
Okay. That's right. As a direct result of his leadership. Is what was said. Correct.
Well, Peter Doocy, fact check.
Peter Doocy.
Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre. Okay, so the Dow Jones Industrial Average surged 0.8% or 257, to close at 31,000 on January 21st, 2021, marking it the all-time closing high on the first day following Biden's inauguration. From December 21 to January 2022, the Dow Jones has plummeted over 6,000 points. This evening, just go on to that. Fox News report, Peter Doocy asked White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre about Biden's previous claims the stock market hit record after record on his watch. President Biden once bragged about the stock market hitting record after record after record on my watch. How about now? Peter Doocy asked. She simply replied, meaning the stock market.
Wait, what?
That's what she replied.
That was her reply.
Yeah. And then
when he said the stock market, she meant meaning the stock market.
Yeah,
that's what
she says. Meaning the stock market.
Oh my God!
All gains. Now here's what Doocy said: all the gains from President Biden's time in office have been wiped out.
Yep.
Jean-Pierre echoed meaningless talking points by saying, "We are watching closely, and we know families are concerned about inflation and the stock market. That is something that the president is really aware of." She continued, "We're not the only country dealing with what we are seeing at the moment as it relates to inflation. Putin's price hike coming out of the global pandemic, all of those play a factor."
Come on, man. So, we are not this stupid, I mean, there are stupid people, but we're not this stupid.
January 21st, 2022.
Not too long ago now. Okay. 6 months.
All right, I'm sorry. 2021.
Well, that's a long time ago now, Jim. Yeah,
don't you think that part of that was what Trump still did?
I mean, he left office January 20th.
I was going to say. I mean, that guy in one day. Look what he did.
Look what he did in one day. Look what he did in one day to the stock market.
See, that's what people need to understand. He gets out there in January 21st, 2022. It just talks about how the people love him because the stock market's higher than it's ever been, and it closes higher. Yeah. You really haven't done anything.
You haven't done anything.
So it's easy.
Well, no, he has, unfortunately, because now look, the gains are all gone. He's done a lot.
Well, yeah.
He's done a lot.
Oh, there was I gotta say this. There was a TikTok video where this guy was sitting there. Joe Biden hasn't done a damn thing for this country, and he just keeps going to hell. And then it comes on, and this other guy comes on and says, "Well, I think that's incorrect. Joe Biden has done a lot for this country. He has brought us all together. We all want Donald Trump back." I love that TikTok video. It was awesome.
He has created more Republicans.
Yes,
he has done that.
And real quick, there's some things about. There was a question. Did you see Don Lemon's question on CNN to Jean-Pierre?
I did not see it. I had heard about it. I mean, just the fact that those two brainless idiots are talking is funny enough.
Here's what he says. Does the president have the stamina, physically and mentally, do you think, to continue even after 2024?
May I stop before you give her answer?
Yeah.
Because I can answer that.
Yeah.
And I would have answered Mr. Lamont.
Right.
I would say the president does not have the physical or mental stamina to walk up the stairs to Air Force One. So what do you think? But go on.
She replies, smiling, Don, you're asking me this question? Oh my gosh, he's the president of the United States. I can't even keep up with him. We just got back from New Mexico. We just got back from California. That is not a question that we should be even asking. Just look at the work he has done. Yeeks. Look at how he's delivering for the American public.
What? Jim, how could she say this stuff with a straight face? I understand. Well, every press secretary is there to champion the.
And I got to tell you, I think it's because, that's not a question I was expecting. And that's why it's because, again, as we talked about, CNN,
not from him.
CNN, Don Lemon is not conservative.
Oh, by any means.
He's one of these people that follows the journalistic creed that we read about on the last show. The best document of fiction I've ever seen in my entire life.
I've ever seen.
Yeah. And anyway, what's happening now is what we talked about earlier is people are turning on him. And Dale will get into another story here shortly. Yeah. But I just want to do one more quick thing. Because this is bothering me more than anything that I could.
Really?
It's just bugging me. Okay. Leaked Twitter chat shows employees saying we successfully deplatformed Trump as they consider deplatforming conservative watchdog libs of TikTok. Mm-hmm. Real quick, on Monday, a leaked thread of messages from Twitter's employees revealed their consideration of deplatforming a conservative account, Libs of TikTok, an account that exposes the leftist and liberal agendas of today's teachers, leaders, and influencers. During the chat dialogue, employees are seen celebrating their successful removal of former President Donald Trump from the platform as they consider the impact of removing the additional account. The employee chat notes that removing the Libs of TikTok account may not be in the fiduciary interest, which is likely a referral to the ongoing issue of censorship being exposed by Elon Musk in his bid to purchase the social media giant. Elon Musk chimed in. Why? Simple. Why are you doing this? One employee said, "How dare you bring up fiduciary duties while trans people are literally being wiped off the face of the earth?"
Is there a mass genocide of trans people? No. Jim, did I miss something?
I got to read it one more time. One employee says, "How dare you bring up fiduciary duties while trans people are literally being wiped off the face of the earth?"
This is a voter. This is somebody who votes.
And somebody who obviously is I don't want to give this whole story any more of an issue because we all know what Twitter and Facebook and all these other people, they're just liberal pieces of shit. And this is a case in point where freedom of speech doesn't matter to them. Okay. Of course. How many times let's just go down the list, has President Trump, Vice President Kamala Harris, or whatever you want to pronounce her damn name, Pelosi,
I don't know,
Schumer. Yeah. How many times have we listened to them lie through their freaking teeth? I don't want to ban from TikTok. I don't want to ban from Twitter. I don't want to ban from, because that's not what we are about. You have a right to say what you want. I think it's not right you're lying to people. But
but we can fact check that, right?
Exactly.
Ourselves.
And
we can rebut
because
it on
Facebook
Twitter
fact checkers won't check it. I'll tell you that.
Well, of course not.
But,
of course not.
Anyway, so all that is just bringing up that it is what happened. It was the social media's push to get Donald Trump out, guys. We are in the position we are in right now with gas prices, the economy, inflation, baby food formula, all of this stuff was predicted. Well, baby food formula was not predicted by Trump. But during his campaign, he said all of these things that is happening right now. Inflation,
everything.
Come after your guns, jobs, everything will be gone.
He was right again.
But because you didn't like him, because you didn't like him, you did what you did to get him out.
That's right. including the mass exodus from all social media
And
the
look what's
banning
going
and
on.
the blackballing. And look what you got now.
Look what's going on.
You have 8.6, 8.9% inflation, which is the number they're giving you.
Exactly.
But yet gas, food, all that stuff is higher than that. The increase it's gone. So inflation truly is probably somewhere near 14%. To be honest with you, 13 to 14%. Historically high numbers. Unbelievable.
But
gas the highest it's ever been in this
and
nation.
I'm getting sick and tired of this. I think
because Putin. They didn't like the orange man.
All because of Putin.
Huh? All because of that's why we were taken down from YouTube. It's Putin's fault.
Yep.
That's why. That's exactly why.
Look, guys, sometimes you're going to have presidents that you may not like what they say. You may not like how they say it.
Even the ones you like, you don't always like what they say.
You got to watch what's being done. How many times do we have to hear from the liberals? Oh my God, it was so much better under Obama. Was it?
Was it?
Was it? No.
Well,
look at the statistics. Look at where we were at. The stock market was really high. They were printing money, constantly printing money, devalued everything. 19% on welfare under Obama, because. And then they credit it for the unemployment rate because they stopped looking for jobs.
That's right.
So
that's what I was just going to add to.
So, but because he made everybody feel better, African Americans were better under Donald Trump, but they didn't know it because their black leaders were telling them you're not, and the liberals were telling them you're not when they were, and so. Anyway, well, I'm it's like that comment says, man, I should go for some mean tweets right now. But anyway,
no kidding.
Let's move on.
Right. We all could.
Liberals
Jim,
suck.
Yeah, liberals suck. Jim, we're moving on. Final segment of the day. Let's do it. Well, in staying right in tune with what you just kind of briefly discussed, Biden's in trouble.
You think
Biden and the Democrats they're just in trouble, guys, and
they don't know how to fix it.
It's not that they know how to fix it, Jim. We know they know how to fix it.
This is what they want to happen.
This is what they want to happen. That doesn't mean they don't know how to fix it. This is planned and on purpose. But even their base and even their people that are supporting them are really, really, really just kind of they're literally jumping ship. Jim, you know who Doug Schoen is, right?
Yes, I do. Many
people might have seen him. He's a Democratic pollster. He was on Fox News a lot. He's on CNN more than anything now. But I mean, he was. If you'd see him, he's a portly man with glasses. That's what he is. He's a Democratic pollster. Hi, Jim. Why are you laughing? Why did that make you? Why does that make you laugh? He's a portly man with glasses. That's all I'm saying. Some people might recognize somebody like that. Schoen has been around long enough to know what happens to the party in power when inflation and gas prices are out of control. Yeah, he's not a young fella.
Right.
I mean, when I say young, he's probably in his 60s, maybe even early 70s now. I don't know.
Good thing he's not
Democrat
50s.
He's not. Yeah, young, thriving.
Portly fellows with glasses.
They don't last long. Democrat Doug Schoen, a political consultant, has warned. I'm sorry, Jim. Wasn't even funny. I don't know. It's your gang hat again. If you're not watching, watch. He's wearing his gang colors again, the 513. Democrat Doug Schoen, a political consultant, has warned his party that they could face historic losses in the midterms come November. Of course, who doesn't know this or who doesn't understand that? In a lengthy op-ed for The Hill, Schoen argued that Democrats just will not be able to shake or avoid President Joe Biden's increasingly unpopularity with the American public, with the latest Quinnipiac poll putting his approval rating at a dismal 35%.
And like you and I said, I don't think it's that high.
I don't think it's that high either. Biden has also lost ground with two key voting blocks needed to pull out the victory: independents and, as we discussed last show, Hispanics. Historically low with Hispanics.
Incredible.
So much so that and moving on, that Myra Flores won in Texas last night. There were primaries. There was elections all over, and I'm going to get into that story in a little bit. But she was the first Mexican-born person to win the GOP for the Republicans in Texas in that district. And so, yeah, it was good for her. And she could combat somebody like an AOC very well. She's very good. So keep an eye on her. Her name is Myra, Mayra. I think that's how you would say it. Flores, Flores. Anyways, on to this. Schoen blamed this on economic pessimism, which he defined as Americans being not convinced of the economy's well-being in the face of skyrocketing inflation and high gas prices. Though the Democrats have tried to shift the conversation away from those issues onto issues like abortion and gun control, Schoen seemed unenthusiastic that voters will be persuaded. I think that's true too. You'll hear about it again if the Supreme Court comes out and says we've overturned Roe v. Wade, we're giving it back to the states. That will be news for a month or so until something else develops. But nearly 48% of Americans cite economic issues, including inflation, the economy generally, including inflation, 21%, and the economy, 19%, and gas prices, 8%, as the single most important issues to the midterm vote. So those four are the top four: economy, inflation, economic issues, the inflation. Listen to me. I'm screwing this up. The top are inflation, economic issues in general, gas prices as the most important issues in the midterm. So those three are the top rated issues, which they can't win on, Jim. They cannot win on that.
You mean transgenders being wiped off the face of the earth isn't one of the...
Isn't that one? The mass Kool-Aid drinking genocide of as transgenders being that was news to me, Jim. That was a great story because I wasn't aware that there was transgender mass genocide going on around the world. Just some election news. There were primaries that happened all across the country yesterday, which are actually primaries for who's going to run in November for seats. So far, though, Trump endorsed candidates. Jim, do you know what his record is?
It's pretty high.
129 and 8. So out of the 137 candidates that he's endorsed, 129 of them have won their primaries. Does that tell you his influence still?
There was a story on MSNBC basically saying that because of those losses, he's losing his support.
Yeah, he's losing his support. 129 and 8.
I think Biden would kill for numbers like that.
I think so. I think so too. Good news. He did support Tim Scott. Of course he did. And why wouldn't he? But he also supported this Myra Flores in Texas, which is a historic win for that district. And especially since it's been Democrat for forever and ever and ever as well. So big win there. How are they going to stop this? How are they going to stop the red wave in November? Jim, do you know?
I don't want to get banned from YouTube.
No. Not that way. There is another way.
COVID.
How will they avoid it? COVID-19. People are coming down with it, like dropping like flies, apparently, on the Democrat side. U.S. Health Secretary contracts COVID-19 for the second time in 25 days. Fully vaccinated, fully boosted.
It honestly says if you have a positive test, it could be 60 to 90 days later, you could still test positive for it. So I don't buy that.
25 days.
I don't, bull.
Of course. So that's what I'm saying. COVID. Second time in 25 days, which we know is bullshit. But you got to keep the news out there, right? Because we're going to need mail-in ballots. We're going to have to do that. This is crazy to me that happened. But I just wanted to say that because that's to me, that is an ongoing list of, I think Maxine Waters, who was sitting there all bumbly-eyed staring behind Pelosi during this damn speech on something. I don't even know. Don't care. She just tested positive for it. Everybody in the Democrat side's testing positive for COVID all of a sudden. It's crazy. It is happening. People are still getting it. I get it. Don't write emails. Don't sit there. 2 guys, 1 coup, you conspiracy theory, nut job assholes. COVID's real. It's real. I get it. It's not a death sentence for anybody anymore. But there is a surprising, and I know we're running late, but there is a surprising study going out there. Jim, you've heard of SIDS before, right? Sudden infant death syndrome, right?
Yep.
Have you heard of SADS? Sudden adult death syndrome. Experts and families of healthy young people who have suddenly died are speaking out about sudden adult death syndrome, or sudden arrhythmic death syndrome, known more commonly as SADS.
Yeah.
SADS. What?
I just thought.
Go ahead.
Oh. Okay.
What?
I'm surprised they called it something, because is it like all the people that are affiliated with the Clintons? Is that what they're calling it now? We're not. We're calling it SADS now, not suicide anymore. Okay. I'm sorry. It's not a funny issue, but come on.
It's not a funny issue.
Okay, Dale, go ahead. What is SADS? Yeah. I'm sorry.
It is not affiliated with the Clintons yet. Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me if the guy shotgun and hung died of SADS. Yeah. SADS, according to the Royal Australian College of General Practitioners, is an umbrella term to describe unexpected deaths in young people, usually 40 years of age, around that area, whose cause of death following post-mortem examination is undetermined. Quote, she worked for an advertising company. This is expert talking about a lady here. She worked for an advertising company, was doing really, really well, said Margarita Cummings, whose daughter, Catherine Crean, died suddenly at the age of 31. She went to the gym and walked 10,000 steps every day. Cummings told the Irish Mayor last month that her daughter's housemates found Catherine's dead body after she didn't come down for breakfast. They sent her a text at 11:20 a.m., and when she didn't reply, they checked her room and found that she had passed away, the mother recalled. Her friend heard a noise in her room at 3:56 a.m. and believes that's when she had passed away, probably collapsed to the floor. Another family lost their healthy 19-year-old son from the mysterious disease on April of 2021. End quote. As most of you know, on the 2nd of April, 2021, we tragically lost our beautiful son and brother, Liam, to sudden adult death syndrome. A fundraising page for the teen said Liam was just 19 years of age, a vibrant, fit, healthy young man. Liam had everything going for him in life and was learning to drive, looking forward to planned concerts with his friends, road trips, typically what a 19-year-old would do. Dr. Elizabeth Pratt from Melbourne's Baker Heart and Diabetes Institute said the Victorian registry shows there are approximately 750 cases per year of people aged under 50 in Victoria alone suddenly having their heart stop. So this is just recently. Of these, approximately 100 young people per year will have no cause found even after extensive investigations as a full autopsy. Peretz noted that the number had remained tragically consistent over the past couple of years. This has always been a really tragic thing that has been around, and we haven't seen a big change in numbers in recent years, she said. It's always been something that affected people in their life with no warning. Have you ever heard of this before, Jim?
First time.
So I love what she's saying there. Jim, why do you think this is happening? Suddenly people are dropping from heart attacks. Young, healthy people are dropping from heart attacks. They're dropping from arrhythmias. They're from kids up to young adults. What could cause that?
I'm just maybe stress. I don't know. I have no idea.
Vaccines, maybe?
Oh, well. Yeah.
I mean, they've been associated with it. We've had story. I mean, you saw, maybe you didn't see it. Nobody probably cares on our audience, but Justin Bieber, who had paralysis from this, like part of his face, fully boosted, fully vaccinated. That is one of the side effects, by the way, of the vaccination, in case anybody wants to know. I think, I got to be honest with you, I've never been a big fan of it. I think the world knows that I am vaccinated. I got the first 2. I will not get a booster. I don't care what they tell me, and I don't care what it affects in my life. I will not get a booster. I've seen too many stories like this and too many stories of people just dropping like flies all of a sudden with no explanation. Healthy sports stars, we see it all the time, are just dying of heart attacks. Young kids on the basketball court, just all of a sudden, this is maybe it's being reported more. I know things like this have happened in the past, but there sure is a trend going on here. And what has changed?
Possible
vaccines.
Yeah, possible.
I'm not an immunologist. I don't a virologist. I don't know any of that stuff, but it is kind of odd. Do you not think?
Yeah, when you look at it from that standpoint, yeah, possibly.
It's weird.
I would like to know how many of those that have had SADs have actually received all the vaccines plus the booster.
What's funny about that story then, and I'm doing more research on it, is that that's not coming up, that they've had it or that they haven't had it.
I would like
it's not being mentioned. So why is that not being mentioned? Maybe it's being hidden. I don't know. Again, tinfoil conspiracy things. I get that. I'm only speculating, and I'm trying to keep an open mind about why all of a sudden young, healthy people are just dropping like flies. You know, maybe they're all transgender. Maybe that's part of the genocide.
Maybe that's the wiping of the face of the earth.
Maybe that's the wiping of the face of the planet we're talking about. Jim, that's all I got for today on the show. Do you have anything else to add before we close this out?
No, August is heterosexual Pride Month. And for all you heterophobias out there, heterophobics, we're welcome everybody.
We welcome everybody. We're inclusive. So we welcome.
And the flag that we
and some
created is right behind Dale.
It's right there.
Left-hand side.
It's right there. Remember, August, heterosexual Pride Month. Jim, great show. Again, everybody, thank you for joining in and listening. Please remember to now, I believe, follow us on YouTube again. You can, if you haven't seen the last few episodes, and you really should, they'll be up there as well. But you can find it also on Rumble. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeart, you name it, where you are listening to podcasts. We've had some additional people join the Facebook group page, so we really appreciate that. Again, it's 2 guys, 1 coup. Pretty simple to find us. All you do is go and join. Participate, share, do whatever you have to do. Remember to give us reviews, especially on YouTube and Rumble, but more specifically 5-star reviews on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It really helps people find content like this and who we are. And don't forget to go to listen to our good friend Mark over at the Conservative. Don't forget to listen to his podcast as well.
And his lovely wife.
Exactly. Just got married. Congratulations, Mark. Good for you. Some big changes coming in his life, which are really exciting for him. So we're happy for him as well. Give him a listen. He's great. And don't forget to look up Moms for Liberty. And if you don't have one in your area, you can start one. If you do have one in your area and you are really concerned about children in our school system and what's happening in our school system, and we haven't even really, Jim, dug deep into the surveys that are being sent without parental knowledge.
We'll probably hear more about it August when we roll around to starting school.
I think so too. So that'll be something else. But really, folks, and you don't have to be mom, you don't have to be dad, you don't even have to have children in school.
Nope.
You can join this group if you care about the future of the country. They're fighting hard. Great group of people, that's for sure. So remember that. Jim, you got anything else?
Nope, that's it.
All right, guys. Jim, you have a good weekend. Everybody out there thank you. Everybody out there have a great weekend. And we'll see you all next Tuesday. Adios, muchachos. Bye.